Alright. I figured I would make this video as a means to explain some stuff that happened to me last night. I went to the local bar here in Blair, Nebraska, at a place called George's. Well, anyways, right. I'll have to work on the neck thing for now, but some comedian folks from Hollywood decided to visit today under the guise that they were dent repair specialists. Everyone in town who visits who's like a celebrity always has an alias. Whatever. Mr. Ron White was also here, but he looked a lot better than before because he looked rejuvenated. His handler was also here too. Some person who was poor. Here's my objections. If you can afford to make a payment on a Jaguar automobile, you're not poor. You're just an asshole for thinking that you're poor. There are people in this town who can barely afford to feed themselves. I know. It's mainly from junk food, which is cheap. Go figure. But nonetheless, the point is this. During the meeting, I had a bunch of pictures taken of me. Pictures that will end up photoshopped and used as a means for blackmail. Because the folks at the Freemasons, their plan is to pull an Anthony Weiner on me. They're going to have me set up as a sexual deviant. Now, I will also admit, yes, I have had sexual intercourse with one person as a recent. I will not mention her name, as she is still in the closet, and I don't want to ruin her identity for the sake of her own safety. But there were attempts by certain people to have it to where I take illicit pictures of myself, which I refused. And other stuff too. This is normal operating procedure for the Freemasons and the folks at the Eastern Star. It is called the Venetian way of manipulation. First they give me whatever I want, and then they get material on me to have it where I'm blackmailed, so that then they may control what I do. I'm making this video simply as a means to call them out on their bullshit. And yes, it's bullshit. Head them off at the pass. So here are my wishes. I don't want to be famous. Okay? Celebrities, from what I've seen so far, they like me only because of one thing. I have what they want. but cannot have freedom. Those movie stars are essentially slaves to a very specific system, a system that's managed by some very specific people of a very specific type of religious ideology, and have a very specific nationality. Go figure. I won't have to mention it because this video might be used also as blackmail for anti-Semitism. But nonetheless, the majority of people in Hollywood are slaves to these folks. Not that it's a problem. As long as I'm not involved, I don't give a fuck. It's not my place to control that sort of thing. That's their domain. But I would much rather stay here in Blair. Maybe I might visit Hollywood to go see a friend if I have one down there. But at most, maybe a day. Because I have very specific medical conditions, and I honestly don't know if I could last very long outside of the area. But nonetheless, I would much rather be the type of woman who gets to give advice to people and gets paid to do so. That's what I would prefer to have done. I would much rather be an advisor to people, like famous types. That way I am a neutral party. I'm out of the limelight. And I get all of the benefits of the Venetian system of influence, but none of the drawbacks. I simply wish to remain in control of my own destiny and my own existence. I am a rarity for a reason, because they said that I'm a rare person. I know it was a translationistic comment, but I'm going to interpret it in a different way, as in, so far I've been able to capitalize upon that system so that only I get the benefit and the manipulators get nothing in return. So, yeah. My plan essentially is to just watch as everything goes to shit and observe what happens. That way I can remember it. And then, as the centuries roll on, I can tell my children, and my children's children, and so on and so forth, about this day. What happened? And what they can learn from it. So that they don't make the same mistakes that this generation did. I think that's enough for me.